All right, welcome to the Management Committee of Highway Hills, June 23rd, 2020. We have everyone in presence, including Randy Sweatnam, our General Manager, and Jim Krieger, Board President. Randy, you want to walk us through the numbers?
Sure. Okay. The capital fund total and depreciation total doesn't reflect what we just put in today. Yes, it doesn't reflect that. So anyway, capital fund total as of Friday was $200,006.
One more time.
$206,223. Thanks, Steve. Depreciation fund, $163,697. Delinquencies as of May, 8th of May, was 19,748. Went down a little bit in June to 19,202. Road delinquency was 1,700 as of May, and June it went up by 2 members for the $20 late fee, $1,740. Of the most recent delinquent list, all but one that were 60 days have paid, and that was the same member that has a delinquent on the dam and the regular assessments. And we've been in contact with them, and I expect payment here before the 15th, which will be good.
That's good.
Yeah. Special assessment account, Popular Bank, we have $101,411. Dam repair checking, $86,638 for a total of $188,049.
Any questions on the numbers? No. We usually cover reserve funds. Second meeting, but Randy did include a sheet in everyone's pocket, the fund transfers we've done over the last 3 months. So it's good to see some cash being generated and put into those funds, as well as the breakdown of the current funds. We're still $260,650 away from funding it, but it's good to see some cash going into those accounts to get those caught up, help make our capital and depreciation funds closer to being funded. Randy, you want to cover news and notes?
We were looking for a security guard that hadn't had much luck until a former employee contacted us. And so we hired him. Dave Kilbarger worked on the golf course as a seasonal for the last couple of years. And so he put in for the security position, and we interviewed him, and he accepted the position, starts next Monday, June 29th. So that'll be good. Now, we're still short a part-timer. Jim and I had a conversation about this, and I was under the impression we weren't going to hire anybody else, but we'll put that out there if we want to bring in a part-timer.
Just a question, was that budgeted?
Well, at the beginning of the year it was.
Okay.
So originally budgeted, and then we had taken out some people when we were going to cut the budget for the third shift, but then with the safer security, we basically brought them back and said we'd stay at full staff.
No, I'm just asking, salaries in the budget, did it include a half head count?
I don't know. I don't do the security budget. We didn't do the.
Okay.
We didn't go to that level of granular detail.
Yeah.
Well, we said we were going to lay off 2 people.
Yeah.
And those people have been offset by the donation.
Correct.
So my simple question was, is this half head count higher than what we had planned?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, Jim. It would it basically gets us back to full strength.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why we're not having lake patrol.
Right.
But my thing is I want to get this part-timer back on staff so we can get back to having at least some presence on the lake.
So it shouldn't make any impact to our budget. That's all I was trying to get at.
shouldn't, yeah. But I wanted to discuss it to see, make sure it was okay with you, because we could really use the extra help. I mean, if nothing else, because of the issue we've had with packages, so many packages, which is hurting other aspects of the security position.
Okay.
So does anybody have a problem with adding it, looking for another
No, I
part-timer?
think we should add.
Okay, great, thank you. As a matter of fact, when we were doing interviews, and people calling in about the security position, I was telling me it was full-time only, and a couple of them wanted part-time, so
You might be able to
we'll
look.
be able
More.
to grab somebody here relatively quickly.
Is this gentleman one of the ones we, in essence, eliminated from the golf course?
Yes,
So
Yeah.
he was a part-timer
he
before.
was seasonal.
Seasonal, you're right.
Yeah, seasonal, yeah,
Full-time in the summer months.
correct, gotcha, correct, yeah, that's good. And he was tickled to death. I mean, he's, I think, 45 years old, working, putting on tires for $9.60 an hour.
Yeah, this might be a little easier on his.
Well, yeah, right.
Fill a big void for us.
Plus, benefits after 60 days. Oh my God.
Well, we build a staff, Lake Patrol over 4th of July weekend.
Oh, we should be able to. Oh, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
It's gotten wee bit crazy
Oh,
out there.
I know.
I mean, it's a,
Our lake is getting crazy.
Be quiet.
you don't call jet skis going around the lake backwards crazy, I don't know what you do. I don't want to see anybody get hurt out there, and especially that weekend.
So do you look to this part-time position being mainly in the afternoons, weekend? How would the hours go through on that?
Basically, part-time is what we need.
But I'm saying, what kind of time frame is it? How many hours a week? And are we gonna look at them for the package time frame from?
Not really. We'll use him when we need him. Basically, it's to cover time off for the other employees. It'll be to cover Lake Patrol. He won't work Lake Patrol, but he'll cover somebody else for Lake Patrol. And when we, like we did before, when we have the most packages, we'll use him for that. So he'll be all over the board. He'll be all shifts.
But how is he scheduled, I guess is what I'm looking at.
He's not scheduled.
So we just call him and he comes to work?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. And we make that clear to him. I mean, if indeed we can schedule him, for instance, Roger has two 8-hour shifts he works. He works a Friday and Sunday. Now, with Lake Patrol, we've moved him to that area when we can. And so, yeah, Roger's the only part-timer that works at an actual shift 2 days a week. Standard shift 2 days a week.
So do we hold that time to so many hours, or is it just as an as-needed basis? I mean, back to you've got me thinking about the budget thing now, so what is the average number of hours that you would work? Some weeks you could work 40, some weeks you could work 20.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
10.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Because especially this time of year when the security guards are wanting to take their vacation, and we've asked them to schedule it in advance, yeah, he'll be working a 40-hour week.
That really should be covered in the budget, because I mean, it's based on last year, they would have had benefits.
I'm just trying to figure this out, how we.
As long as the hours don't appreciably bigger than they were last year, which I wouldn't expect.
Well, here's what it does, it cuts down on the overtime.
Yeah.
The overtime is what kills us. Yeah. Plus, the part-timer doesn't get benefits.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see, property tours. See, I was instructed not to basically make any recommendations about lot sales. However, I'm still conducting tours. In fact, I conducted one today. And I think it was 2 last week. But I've been making these folks perfectly clear that we are having a study on our lots to assess our watershed green space lots. And so I'm showing whatever lots they want to see and letting them know that don't get their hopes up, because it may be determined that they are watershed or green space lots. The people I showed today There's several lots they had picked out that they really liked, and I told them, I said, understood, but wait, until we finish our study, and then we'll let you know where we stand. I mean, I've had several.
When is this, what's the status of the study?
Jimmy, any idea when they might complete that?
Yeah, well,
You put your microphone closer.
what we literally are looking at, Dan, is not only the status of the green space versus watershed lots, but also some issues in terms of how many more lots, how many more buildings we can sustain here. So we're reaching out to both Hocking County as well as Fairfield County and trying to get some input from them. Because all we have in Hideaway Hills, we either have groundwater, water service, and we have septic systems. So are we approaching saturation at this point? The other concern is how many
So
more.
this is gonna take a while.
Oh, I don't think it'll take a whole long, because it's, you know, it's a JJ's on the group too. It's a pretty well-defined problem, and I think we can get to some decisions on it. I mean, I don't think it's, you know, is it gonna be tomorrow or is it gonna be by Friday? No. But I think before too much longer, you know, we will be able to come up with some recommendations and bounce those back. And so that's,
I'm just wondering if we would be better served just saying, take everything off the market and no more tours. If we're putting people in a position where we'll show it to you, but we don't know if we will accept you, you know?
yeah, that's a really good question, and I think there's different minds on the board about that. And I think we're probably waiting for another meeting to sort of get more feedback from our group. Bringing it to the board would be appropriate, and then go from there.
Well, there's another side to that also. Some people are wanting to buy a home, and so they just want to see what we have here. So I take those people, I tell them, I say, okay, I can't show homes, you'll have to get the realtor to do that, but I'll be more than glad to show you around, show you the amenities.
Yeah.
So it's probably 40-60.
I just don't want to get us into a situation where people are coming down, looking at property, and then we say, oh, no, I mean, no, because I'd get angry.
Yeah, well, I let them know that beforehand.
Yeah.
They can buy club lots, but they can always buy from private parties or buy existing homes.
Right.
Even though
Yes,
this
it does-
group
you
is
can't stop
looking at private lots
Yeah,
also.
we can't do anything with private lots.
You can't, okay.
And I have showed them also, private lots.
Okay.
Just most people, hey, I'm interested in this, I'd like to see the facility and the amenities, can you show me around? And then, can you show me these lots? And I have, and we do have folks that bought 3 lots over on Nootka, from a member, and also over on Zuni from a member, after I'd shown them around. I mean,
The Ryan
yeah,
stuff up by the Ryan's house?
yeah,
Yeah.
actually on that real steep curve where they bought the block, not across from Ryan's, but they're down
Oh, down that?
from
okay.
them. Yeah.
That's a cool ravine though.
Any other questions on property tours?
No.
I think he's handling it okay, as long as you're letting him know that.
How many do you do a week, Randy?
Last week I did 2, this week I did 1 so far. Typically, it's probably 1 every other week here with that, well, most of the summer, yeah. Clubhouse generator. I was told by Scott Lines, who's the generator guy, that all we needed to get the inspection was to get the bollards in. So I asked him to mark them, which he did, got them in. So I asked him again, how soon is the inspection? Well, come to find out that he still has more work to do. He has to put a heater in there. So that, I haven't had that additional conversation with him this week to see if that's been done or not. But I mean, just like today, with a little bit of a storm we had today, we had the lights flickering on off in here. I don't know if you folks did or not, but.
Yeah, I lost power for a couple hours.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
A lot
I
of
did at the
people
clubhouse. I didn't
I
hear.
heard Kristen said it is.
Yeah, well, that was earlier this morning, so it may have,
But I'm on the dark side, you know.
yeah, I know, yeah.
Did we pay him entirely for the job?
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, we paid him the first amount that he asked for, but we haven't paid him anything since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's come back and finish.
Yeah.
Just do the job we.
Right.
Yeah, I would just keep calling him every day to
Okay.
I can finish it. We need the generator. This is prime power out season for us. That's what we spent the money for.
Yeah, absolutely. Sediment trap cleaning, it was completed Friday. Jim Downer came in, completed that Friday. He did have some recommendations on the next time. He said they hauled out 9 loads, 9 total loads of sediment.
Really?
Yeah. He said there could have been more removed, but he said it wasn't cost effective because it was just stirring it up and he wasn't getting anything.
It was water, yeah.
Yeah. And so he said we did put a heck of a dent in it. He was surprised how much was in there. He said in the future he'd recommend performing this task as original design engineers had thought up. Pulling the bypass plug and running the stream around the pond for a while, and then pumping the water down, letting it dry up for a little bit. He said the best time to do this would be the end of July, toward the first couple weeks of September. So we probably ought to figure on doing that again next year, getting hopefully the Lakes Committee to ask for that through amenities.
Yeah, for anybody, nobody else was here at that time, but when we designed that back in 2013, the upstream from where the first,
I'll do that. Upstream from where the first piece of the sediment trap is, there's actually an outlet drain up there. And it's closed regularly, but the whole point was, as Randy said, is when we wanted to clean up the sediment trap, we can open that, we divert then all the water through that, and it runs just alongside the sediment trap. And if you're in a low generation period or low rain period, then it'll just be a small stream and will have very little impact, and you probably wouldn't have much sediment anyway going on. So then you allow the water that's in the current sediment trap, or the muck that's in there, to dry out, and then he can come in with a fairly long throw arm and be able to pick it up and take it out, and it's much more effective. And it isn't like when he was there, I went over and looked at him after a while, and he was putting his bucket down and coming up with water. I mean, everything was, and so it was not cost effective at that point, because he wasn't getting anything, but it is substantial. He took a lot out.
Have we annually, I mean, it feels like we do this even more often than annually, but maybe I'm just.
I think the last time we did it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the first time we've done it since we installed it.
Well, yeah, we didn't do it when the lake was down.
Well, no, I mean, after it was installed,
Yeah.
but it had started filling up and it wasn't really getting that much.
Not as much, no, it's been much, it's been much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's accelerated in the last year or two.
Right.
No, I just was curious because we talk about it a lot, we don't necessarily always do it,
Well,
so.
I think he cleaned it when we actually dredged the north end.
Yeah.
I think he took stuff out of it then.
Yeah.
So that would have been summer of 16. Did we do it 2 years ago?
But there was another issue
Either 2
where,
years or last year. I
Fall
thought
of
it was last
16 was when we did the north end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early.
I just thought we had a year where we got a complaint on how we were doing it, and that was last
I think
year.
we did one time after that. So,
Well, I mean, you've got an area there in front of the sediment trap upstream where maintenance has cleaned that out, so that saves us some money there.
Maybe I'm getting that. mixed
Yeah,
up.
and then he'll do the deeper part in the regular trap, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because the technology was to have 2 separate breaks. The first one that Randy said, which our maintenance guys can go clean up, and that's the first wall you see. Then there's a settling pond following it where the water flows over and it stills, and the idea is the silt drops out and also catches anything that blew over the first one. So those are the 2 pieces. So there is one sediment trap, but there are basically two structures to stop the material.
Yeah.
And then there's like geotech material in it, which allows water to flow through as well. So it's actually pretty ingenious. It's a cool thing.
any more questions on sediment traps?
Exciting topic. For those of us who live on the north end, it is a really good project.
Unless you want to watch it get dredged again.
Yeah, that's true. I heard him.
picnic tables, Randy?
I had a complaint from a member, might have been one of the Gillespie group, that there was one of the picnic tables that the board was loose. So I sent maintenance down there to take a look, and Rick called me up, he asked me to come down there, and those things tops were literally rotted off, or starting to, and were really bad. Yeah, those down there, and we just replaced them 3 or 4 years ago. We bought them at Lowe's for $99, so we may or may not have got our money's worth. Anyway, they replaced the tops on all of them. However, there's still other boards that need to be replaced, so they're wanting to do that this winter and probably rebuild. Because the legs are still good. It's just the tops and the supports for the seats were pretty bad shape, and so they replaced the tops, and we'll probably redo the other ones, the rest of them this winter.
Part of the issue you'll have right now is it's darn near impossible to find treated lumber.
Tell me about it. I got some steps in the front field.
Yeah, the plant shut down, and they're so backlogged, you're not gonna find treated lumber right now, but without them being regularly stained, they're not gonna last more than 3 or 4 years, even treated. It might go a little longer if they're decent treated, but
They're marine, maybe, but I agree.
I almost think we'd like to see a committee, one of the committees take on trying to keep them, somewhat stained or painted. The social committee or somebody would want to stain them, and they would last forever if you keep them up. But they just sit out there in weather. They just pretty well don't.
We don't put them in undercover anywhere?
No.
Could we at least put them up
We
on the
could,
stage?
we could do that.
That's big, it's not gonna be 100%.
We've got picnic tables like those out there. Those picnic tables there they were here when I started, so they've been out there probably 20 years.
A lot of things made 20 years ago last longer than.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But yeah, if we'd have known, we'd have put them under the shelter up there. We could have done that, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think it's cheaper to fix them over the winter if we can, but I'd like to see us approach a committee of some type and see if somebody would be willing to stain them or paint them and try to make them last a little longer.
Well, I think before we do
Stain
it,
them to cover this deck, it would look
yeah,
nice.
before we do anything with them, we're gonna have to do some work.
Replacement over the winter.
And then we can say,
I think we just keep fixing them as best we can right now. And
Yeah.
I think we can afford to go buy new ones.
How many are there, about 10? Something on that order.
No, I don't think I think there's 6 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 6, not quite 10.
You can walk out the door and look at it.
So they
I know.
tables. Any member out there want to stain picnic tables?
Going once?
Really? I like doing my own staining. All right, cool project progress.
Well, with the last dry spell, they did make some progress. They got the drain line in, got it covered up, and as you see, they had some of the stone wall delivered out there. So now they're just waiting for it to dry up again, so they can get back at it. It's not hurting us now, it just looks like crap. It's not ready like what we hoped it would be, but yeah, Robbie's been on them, I've been on them. The one guy out here that was head of not the boss, but the head of this project, he was pretty much a jerk, and so, but they're moving along.
And that's already been paid for already.
Half of it.
We charge them rental for storing their skid steer.
Yeah, we should, either that
Or we should get use of it.
or use it. Yeah, oh yeah, we could put that to use. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. I know Robbie's really frustrated with this company, but, they do
I
have,
guess we got a couple names of contractors that if we go forward and do things, we want to remember these things and
absolutely.
and look at some way of protecting ourselves with some sort of guarantee, weather obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't know that was every day why they weren't here doing it either.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, there was,
I think there were some pretty nice days that there was still nobody here doing
had
stuff
quite a
too.
bit of dry time that they weren't, yeah, absolutely.
Are they putting concrete footers in and all that, or?
I think they're just doing gravel footers. Yeah, they're doing concrete.
So there's no real, okay.
Sand donations.
The board decided to put a sand beach fund under the Lakes Committee, like sort of a sub fund, not a subcommittee, but a sub fund. And so, what has happened up to this point is that, the beach sand has been paid for through donations, with the exception of $600. That money is yet to come in, and so as soon as that money comes in, that'll get paid. Any other money that comes to this volunteer as a donation, she will turn it over to the beach fund in the Lakes Committee account. So actually, the beach fund account. So that is, the sand has been delivered. It just hasn't been spread yet.
And who's doing that?
Tiffany Wright.
So, I mean, it's not on maintenance to do it.
No, maintenance not doing anything with that. Maintenance did go down there and they needed the post in and then they needed the post back out, so maintenance cut it off. And there was some trimming of the trees that I had maintenance go down there and do a little bit so they could get back under there, put their pea gravel down. But other than that, maintenance doesn't do anything down there.
Okay.
Not to say they won't end up doing something, but.
No, I understand. I was just,
Yeah,
I was more curious about the,
yeah.
was it just sand donation or was it the whole project?
If I can speak to that for a second, I mean, because there was a great idea by the one individual, and it was one of these Facebook initiatives, almost like a GoFundMe, but not quite. And just getting more sand, because we generally have bought sand every other year for the beach. And this year, we bought it last year, we weren't gonna buy it.
Right.
So she went out, and it was a great deal. But then what happened is a lot of proceeds came in, fairly substantial, surprised her and everybody else. We had a couple conversations, and I was one of the people who suggested, people can do what they want. They can write her checks, and that's fine, and if she wants to handle it and work through Randy and coordinate it because it's on our property, that's fine. But in my humble opinion, the best practice for something like that is to come to Randy and to Penny and set this thing up as something which is under our umbrella. Then we know the money's being treated properly, it's being recorded properly, and everything's being done that way. Because everything is full of donations going to places, and I'm not accusing or anything else suggesting it, but there's a lot of diversions and things that occur. And this way, people can donate money to it and be comfortable that, we've got multiple people, we've got control services, purchases will be done that way, and we can put however many safeguards we're in. The Lakes Committee agreed to be part of the process because this was there, and Randy and Penny did as well. Again, don't mistake, it was not the idea that there was anything wrong or that I was suggesting anything was, but with volunteer groups and with, it was several $1,000s too.
Yeah, 6,000 or 7,000.
Yeah, so that was the point that I sort of made, is like, we're gonna get something that's that big and it's on a club facility, we have a mechanism for that, which is to run it through the club. And there's no overhead, there's nothing about it, Randy doesn't, all he asks is that they buy good sand instead of, which he did. And so I think I'm just hoping people didn't think that this was a real control function, but it is. I did think for the purposes of protection of both the individual and the club, that was, the best way to go about it.
And she was okay with that.
I hope so, because
Yeah,
it was
she
not
was okay with
intended, it was not intended as any sort of insult or anything else. I'm very appreciative of the fact that she did it, but having been in the sort of, like Jim has, in the financial control business for a long time, bad stuff does happen occasionally, and you want to protect those folks as well as the club. That's all. I'm done.
Okay, anybody else? Sand? Copper sulfate for Deerfoot application.
That came in last week, Last week, Rick does not feel comfortable spraying that. That doesn't fall under his permit, his applicator's permit. It's for turf, not for aquatic. And I know the last time we did that, Paul graciously used that big sprayer and did that. So that's kind of an issue of how to get it out there. We've got that. Is that sprayer a
We can
pump?
get it done.
Okay.
So I noticed this past weekend where it was covered a lot with the wind and things that we've had and changed. It's pushed it all down to the narrow end now.
Oh, okay.
I wondered if it had
used because it looked good.
Well, yeah, I mean, wow, somebody's been in here done it. But I think it's floated it down some, I guess, and it's probably thicker at that end. I think we just want to make sure that we do it, take small bites of it.
Oh, okay.
Because if we do too much fallout, we could deplete some of the oxygen in there, and then we could end up, because I heard that we had some algae-eating fish or grass carp or something in there, so we'll make sure we protect those too, so. But yeah, it's not an issue getting that sprayed.
Okay.
We can get in there if they have, whatever we have to.
Okay.
do it with. But I think we want to kind of slice it off and then work our way back up to the shore a little bit at a time.
All right. Do you want,
And then maybe look next year, maybe we should just consider doing a light treatment of it and kind of do it as a preventative thing in lieu of
Doug
trying to.
Parker used to purchase that blue stuff that you put in there. He used to purchase that, and does that same thing?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, he used to
All it's
purchase
doing is
that.
just darkening so your sun rays doesn't get down in there to promote growth.
And that doesn't hurt the fish?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right.
Is that something?
The fish kill problem's gonna be if you drop all that stuff out at once, it can deplete the oxygen and send
Gotcha,
water and the
gotcha.
fish get healthy, so we don't want to do that.
Gotcha, okay. So,
I mean, you can rake it out too, but I'm not gonna stand out there
Oh,
with
no,
one of those
no.
rakes and rake it out.
so does that mean you're?
I'll be happy to, I'll work
Okay.
on that, I'll get with Rick
Okay, great.
next week.
Okay, that's,
Next week.
materials down there, maintenance, so, yeah.
I'll get with him.
And then the sprayer should be down there too. We bought that nice sprayer that fit on the back of a ATV. I don't know how it works. Does it run off a 12 volt?
Probably, it's
I
probably
would
running
imagine it's got
off,
a couple alligator clips to clip it, and we'll get it done.
Yeah, cool, great.
probably
Thank you.
running off
Yeah,
the deep
I'm
cell.
with that.
You probably should put a deep cell in there and run it, or run it through.
I'll work it out with Rick.
All right, great, thank you. Okay, this next item, since Jim Kirk was the management committee representative on the delinquency panel, and he has resigned, obviously, we need a replacement for him for that panel. It's been suggested in the past that somebody from management help with that. Right now, I mean, they were meeting once a month. They're not doing that anymore. They're pretty much meeting as needed.
We're a victim of Randy's success. He's done so well with keeping delinquency down. There is nothing to meet on that.
Yeah, actually, there isn't. I mean, we had the one here recently, and so the board is looking for a volunteer for the delinquency, to serve on the delinquency panel.
I think JJ would fit that bill tremendously. I think he could fill that whole shoe up.
It's pretty straightforward, just to describe what happens. There's myself and a couple other folks that are on the delinquency panel. We have an attorney that works with us and who does all of our collections. And so Randy keeps track of what the delinquency totals are. We have generally, before we send people to collection and go into foreclosures and liens, we make a physical decision. We just don't do that by fiat, or by algorithms. So we go through that. Every once in a while, we've got a situation in which, there's some special circumstances that we may choose to go more aggressively at than otherwise, but it is. Most of the information comes through electronically. You see it, the attorneys forward, Randy, does the 75 days. If people don't come in with a payment, then we send them to the attorney, and then it goes from there. But again, there's some special handling handling, and we don't like to just do
Right.
things without having the people review it.
I have
So
no
that's all.
problem. I have no problem with that, Randy. Great, thank you. Thank you so much. I think you'd be great on that committee.
Well, good, two of us are in agreement, that's good, that's enough. Somebody at the front of the railroad.
Does that, do we need to have board approval on that?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll handle it.
Okay, thanks.
That'll be fine. If that's your recommendation, I will take it to the board.
Well,
I mean, it's sort of, it is a regular committee, but it's not a committee.
Yeah.
It's a subcommittee.
yeah. Well,
But there's no
You
reason.
can join any committee as long as you're not chairman, but
That's
it doesn't hurt.
I'll just say that he's been recommended.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Jim.
I will suggest that I'm very pleased to acknowledge that JJ has decided to go to that committee.
Oh, I am too, I think it'll be great.
I have no issue.
I would suggest if somebody votes against that,
He's
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm not sure I'm going there.
within reason.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, golf cart rentals, I think JJ, this was
Yeah.
something to bring up.
This is something, with the, remember the Women's League, the clubhouse wasn't open, so I get security opened up.
What time, one second, I'm sorry. When? Thursday night?
No, Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, okay.
Clubhouse isn't open yet. So I get security, open it up, pull the car out, wipe it down, everything. And, it's a $10 charge, but I was gonna ask and see if everybody's in agreement or something to the line of, for any, this is the Women's League, for any leagues or tournaments that the club sponsors, that members can get the carts for $5 as opposed to $10. Now, if it's somebody outside, it's $10, and if it's not league or a tournament, it's $10. The women go out and they play for nothing, you know, and there's no, they just do scrambles the whole time. There's not a whole lot of them. There's been one cart, and there's possibly, I heard, maybe 2 carts at one time. But then the men's league, all the carts are pretty much out on that.
That's a revenue source? So,
It's not big, but
no, I know, but
It
it
was
pays
one
for
of
the
the few
rental.
things we had that actually had covered the cost last year, if I remember.
Right.
One of those things we actually got to break even on.
I think it will still cover the cost. I can only say that, you know, I think, but, it's just something that I also thought would be, you know, a little leaf out saying, look, if we hear you, we're part of it. You know, it's not doing it for nothing, but it is just doing
I
it.
think at 10, I think it was one of the few things that we actually come out on the right side of.
I was hoping you were gonna ask to raise the cost.
Yeah, so was I.
Well, we can do that also, is raise the cost for the regular, but then cut the cost on, members for different leagues and such. Anyway, I just wanted to put it out there.
Rex, what's your thought?
Well, I have to see without knowing what it costs to rent and how many we get a year, and it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, we about broke even last year, maybe a slight profit. I mean,
$300 or something.
we pay like a flat rental for the summer and then
For 4 cars, 5 cars.
5 cards, and then at the end, you know, we about broke even. So, my only thing is, I guess initially thought it was a decent idea, but is that fair to rent for $5 to the league versus 10 for somebody just shows up? So it's kind of one of them, you know, but if I'm just a casual player and show up, I'm like, why do I gotta pay 10 when, you know, the guys in the league or the ladies paying 5? So I guess would be my thought, but what's everyone's opinion?
I don't have a problem with raising the regular price and giving.
I think 10 is fair. I think 10's fair, any price, but
Yeah, I think it went from 9 to 10 the last time.
Yeah,
Just stay where we're at, I think.
we
I
pay.
don't want to have another negative costing issue for us. We're trying to build on the positive side to those. Well, I appreciate absolutely what you're saying.
No, I just wanted to put it out there.
No, it's cool. You know, I don't know, down the road, the golf committee can look at it. I assume somebody puts in something into a kitty. This is how the golf committee makes money and.
No,
It's just,
we pay for it.
okay.
You know, it all comes out of management.
Yeah.
The income is covered at the clubhouse
Yeah.
and the,
See, I don't golf, so I don't know
Yeah.
how these numbers, that's what I was thinking. You know, somebody new for a year, well, I think somebody actually did.
We're already
People-
subsidizing it with employee dollars to take it and all that, which we should. But my only point is, why are we giving a discount, when we are asking for increasing our amenity costs and,
Yeah, no, I
you know,
understand.
so that's my point.
I was approached and I'm just raising it up.
The next time that, the last couple years, last 6 years, we've signed a 3-year contract with them. And this last time, they kept the price the same as it was before the first 3 years, which was surprising because they provide new carts every year.
Right.
It won't be that way the next time. I think we're probably in the second year of this 3-year program, and they won't be able to keep the same price next time.
Not at all surprised.
But I think that also they use it as a marketing tool.
Sure.
Because they get here and then people
call
they
in
say,
to
where are you gonna go buy a wallet card? And everybody says, these guys are good to us.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not losing money on us, but I
No.
think they also view it as an opportunity to keep their name out in front of the community.
Right. But she told me that this year, that the next time they'd be raising it, yeah.
Okay, we're in agreement, just kind of leave it alone for now.
Fine with that.
All right, liquor prices, JJ.
Yeah, I got some information from Chris on the liquor prices, and they bumped up, and there's really no rhyme or reason that I see so far. I'm trying to do a new spreadsheet on them to sort of generalize. For example, if you put, say, a 300%,
Markup.
rate for the markup, with the premium liquors, the cold liquors, and the bar liquors, it's such a different price range between it. So what I'm looking at possibly is putting in some numbers, and then I'll show it to everybody. Whereas maybe a premium liquor, the markup is X, bar liquor X, and cold liquor X. Because, okay, we don't want to lose money on it, and it'd be nice to make money on it, but we don't want to price ourselves out either. I did one number showing that just with the 1800 Rosado, which is the top shelf, we're paying, a good price for it. And if we mark that up, similar to what we would do for the bar liquor, it's totally out of line. So I think what I have to do, and I'd like to bring it up next time if everybody's in agreement, is that we look at it in different levels for different increases, so that it looks even throughout. If you do it even percentage-wise throughout, the numbers just, one time you'll be paying $9 for one drink and $2 for another. And it's just out of whack that way. So just looking at the numbers and putting some percentages in, where at least we're just not saying, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. We have reasons behind all the different increments and the markups. Beer is a little easier, we can do that, but again, if you do that by percentage, you could, have a Miller Lite at $6. That you could go to the package store and get them, for a lot cheaper. So we don't want to price ourselves out, but again, we're not in it to lose money. So I think we really have to sit down and look at everything.
Are you suggesting that we are going to raise them again?
No, we've had some complaints that some of the beers have gotten pretty expensive, like Nick Ultra's $3.50 or $3.25.
Has anybody done a price comparison?
That's
Yeah,
what
we're looking at the price based on our.
That is what was done.
Yes.
But what would be interesting is like, what does Pumpkin Vine charge I don't know if we could call out there and they would tell us, or we could go out there.
Go online.
Well, you don't
see it
know,
at the-
you see that, but you don't know what they're paying for the liquor either.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine in the beer, they're probably pretty.
They're paying the same.
Probably, yeah.
Probably too.
Beer-
Beer's the big issue. There's people saying that they can buy a mixed drink almost for price of a beer, for about the same price, so our beer seems a little high. But in comparison to other places around.
Do a better analysis and bring something.
I wouldn't think that Pumpkin Buying is paying any different price for liquor
They're
than
paying
we are.
exactly what we are.
Yeah, everybody.
I don't know.
Liquor is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Is it just like one course or not?
It's state regulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to buy, like we have to buy from Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
They probably have to buy from
Okay.
Giant Eagle.
Yeah, the liquor prices throughout the state are exactly the same.
Okay. I didn't know volume had anything to do with it or not.
I use 2 or 3 other places to do price comparison on beers, and I would suggest you doing it that way.
No, I have no problem with that. I'll reach out to them. But some of the prices we heard just were
If,
a little high, and other ones are probably a little low.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to look at it and see if we're priced in the same market.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
how about our own beer?
I don't have any information on that. I haven't met with the gentleman yet, and we will do that, and I'll get background on that too. That's the one we should be making money on.
We should raise the price on it, in my opinion, but I am no longer of any opinions.
There are no opinions? You're still breathing, you got a opinion, brother.
No, not on this,
Come on.
I am
That is gonna be
literally.
Okay, so we'll continue. If you can get that analysis done and send it out.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we can talk about it and see if there's a happy medium to, I mean, that's what covers, let's face it, that's what covers our labor costs there, but at the same time, it will drive people away either, so.
No, the liquor's always been shown that you should be able to make money on liquor.
So absolutely.
Food's a service and liquor's what keeps the lights on and the barkeep behind there and everything else. We gotta make sure we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, last Monday night we sold over $600 worth. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
One employee, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's-
That would be a good night.
2020 roads plan. I put this on there just to continue to talk about it. We got Rex here tonight. So, have you continued to drive, I mean, guess what have you done so far?
So had a,
Recommendations?
I've been driving roads, had a contractor out last Wednesday, I believe it was. Not sure I'm gonna, I think we'll get a bid, but I think the bid we got is quite a bit less than what we'll get from Strouser. But what I did like is the gentleman that their salesperson has been had been a county engineer, I think up in Delaware County for many years. So good thing is as we rode the roads, he agreed with a lot of what I was thinking, and both of us, and I really want to state this, that both of us think for the last 35 years, I believe it is, Rick has done an absolute excellent job with the equipment he's got, the material he's got, and the roads he's got to work with. And so,
Good deal.
I'm not at all surprised.
yeah, I mean, there's things that we talked about doing that maybe we need to do in the future, in the near future, especially on what I'm calling the west side, to get those roads leveled up before, because when they're rough and bumpy like they are, you're kind of just throwing money away chip sealing them. No matter how good you try and do, you're not going to do a great job. So I think the thing we need to discuss this year is we need to make a decision. The first decision we need to make is not monetary. It's, does our maintenance forces have the time to chip seal this year without letting other important things go? And is it more important to spend a little more money on chip seal and keep them doing what they've been doing I can't answer that question. That's gotta be Rick and Randy but I think that decision needs to be made is, do we have them go do it again this year, or do we pay to have it done and let them concentrate on other stuff? The other thing is, I don't know, I didn't ask Rick, how much money are we gonna have to put into that distributor this year to get it to work, and the spreaders, and by the time you pay all that, and then cut back on your mowing and then have to maybe pay overtime to get caught up on your mowing, did we save any money? We need to make that decision.
Well, I think Rick's been here way long enough.
37 years.
So he should be able to give us what he believes is a priority of things that he needs to get done this year. Because I mean, he keeps his little worker bees pretty busy going in 6 different directions, and I guess that would be to him to see where it is. But since you give us our little lesson here, this alligator cracking, I'm seeing exactly what you're talking about out there. And if we get one of these winters, it's a real winter, I can see every one of those places becoming I-270 hubcap chucking.
The good thing is there is a lot of oil. After talking to Rick, what he's been doing for the last 30 years, there's a ton of oil down there that's going to help keep that from happening in some places, but not. I mean, just doesn't mean we quit. I'm just saying that it's so.
Yeah, I just really let our maintenance, we hired it out to a third party, the actual chip seal. How much would our maintenance guys have to do as far as patching and prep?
Quite a bit of cleanup, some patching, blading back would be what they need to do.
So there's a significant amount of work they're gonna have to do
anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we pull them to do chip seal too, my worry is, they're doing a good job with the staff they have, but I mean, they could be behind on like stuff like weed eating and side mowing, and which is not priority, but it does,
Ditch repairs, tree removals, all these things that
Because all take time. So, I'm still leaning toward them. Our guys do all the patching, the sweeping, the prep, and then we just hire out as much as we can with chip seal. That way we don't get too far behind. So I think Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick probably pulls most of his guys when they're doing roads.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you got 3 dump trucks going. You got a distributor truck going, you got Rick supervising, and you got somebody in the back who's filling trucks.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep them moving because they have to keep up with the oil, but you only got a certain amount of time to put the oil down. So the issue is, right now, you pulled 2 of his people from doing that onto the golf course. And so, yeah, I think the idea of our guys doing the repair and then maybe having 2020 come in and do the chip and seal, they gave a pretty good bid on that, and then just determine what areas we want to do. Now, I don't think they're going to do patchwork. I think they're going to do a mile at a time. I mean, we may move them around a little bit, but I don't think they're going to do a little here, a little there. I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't want to pack them.
Yeah.
Maybe Rex wants to go in and drive the distributor truck.
There we go.
Oh,
Did you see it?
Yeah.
He's busy that day. It's okay, as long as you remember to block the brakes 3 times before you want to stop.
Well, it's not the truck. The truck's not in that bad a shape, because they've already switched that distributor from the truck that was 80 years old to a newer truck that's only 50 years old. Yeah.
I will
The
tell you.
distributor equipment itself is pretty old, and they've kept it up still fairly decent.
We, when we did our drive, with the contractor, we took a left up on, what is it, something forest, to go out the back.
Enchanted Forest.
Enchanted Forest.
Yeah.
But he saw that hill going up from North Park going up,
yeah.
and he went, holy, how do they do that?
Yeah. So,
There's some of those here that you just go, wow.
Wow.
There's a couple on the backside that,
Yeah.
are a little bit of a doozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not the equipment, it's, how do you keep your oil from hitting the bottom of the road before you get the rock on it? It's, pretty good stuff. So what I'd like to do is, I put together that information. I need to get 2 maps from you tonight before we go home.
Yep.
I want to keep working with that. I think there's places we need next year to spend some money with a hot mix contractor to level up on the north, or on the west side, where
We got a lot of drainage issues, and I think there's places if we do some work, we can maybe find we got an extra couple foot of width that we didn't know we had, and there's stuff like that we do, and we'll just keep working that.
When, if we decided to go, we're gonna wait on this bid, but if we decided to go with 2020, I mean, we're gonna have to make a decision how much we wanna spend with them. I think it was 17 grand or something a mile.
Right.
And then how much we're gonna spend on asphalt repair and sweeping and prep. But then, when does he need to know?
Right away.
So that's the problem, we need to know.
Yeah.
Get on his schedule sooner rather than later, or we're gonna miss our
When
window.
can you come up with an estimate of what you think areas? You already have that in your head.
I kind of got the areas I know Rick wants to do, and I'll double check that with him by next week. I think you can probably call the contractor and get him on the schedule for.
Well, we really need to know exactly what Jim said, what we want him to do.
But
He did 5 miles at 17 grand, that's.
85.
Yeah, whatever the case might
It's
be.
85.
Jim said,
yeah, so I'd just say right now we're at 5. We're hoping to go to 7.
Yeah.
Get us on the schedule.
Get him on the schedule and just say, hey, block us in for 5 miles, when can you do it? That gives Rick a date to start working toward, and then, like you said, if we think we got a little extra money, we can bump it up to 70, probably can accommodate that.
Probably in the same day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't wanna get too late, drag this out, we miss our window, and he says, well, sorry, I'm booked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as it was right now, he was open at that time for, first part of July, 1 week, the first part of July, which is probably closed now, but then his next opening wasn't until September. And you're pushing the late part of the season in September.
I know, but
But they can do quite a bit at one time.
yeah, I think we need to get on his schedule, and then, we can work out a few details later. And Chris can keep working on a plan for prep and.
And anything we don't spend, we can carry forward if we want to do a bigger effort next year.
I think that's
Because I've looked through the code, it's very clear.
Right.
The appropriation does not lapse, it doesn't need to be spent, we can go forward.
Where are we at approximately on roads? So how much of that would it use up this year if we did 5 miles?
Well, we have 791 payers times 200, I don't know how much we've.
It's about 166,000 is usually what it comes out to be.
So it's about half.
And we'll need some, we'll have to have supplies for repairs and patching and things like
You
that.
got ditch
Which
work
adds
to
up.
do too.
Yeah, the ditch load's going and picking them up.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean, ditch work-
but I don't think we're gonna
We
get
carried
a
some
problem.
money forward from last year as well.
Ditch work takes a lot of asphalt, and they're kind of patching those sides in.
Well, what I'm thinking is the 5 really should be within a covered zone.
So you want me to go ahead and give him a call?
I'd give him a call, get on the date, tell him we're gonna do 5 miles.
could go up by
Could
a
go up to maybe a
factor.
couple more if we can. Make
I mean,
it
a
work.
couple more miles is not really gonna be anything to them.
No, I think
But
it's
I'm
the
not,
other.
the issue is we'll have to look at it financially.
Commit at 5 and say we might we're trying to stretch our dollars and we might be able to get up to 7 or 8.
I think we think have Rex come back and recommend, hey, 7 miles will really get us done, and that leaves us 60 grand to do, or 40 grand to do asphalt repair.
Yep.
And that's right next for this year or whatever.
Okay.
Or we do 20 grand in asphalt repair and we carry it over.
Sounds good.
Okay, so you want me to tell him 5 miles, or you want me to tell him 5 to 7? Just to sort of keep us open there.
Do 5 to 7.
Okay, cool.
And if you can start marking up the map where you want the mile stretches to be.
And that gives Rick the target zone too, and we're on the same page.
Right.
Yep.
If he needs a hand sweeping or something like that, I'll be happy to volunteer at anything.
They've been doing a lot of blading.
I've noticed that, and that's what kind of prompted me.
Yeah.
They're pushing more stuff up on the road, and I thought, well, if they're doing that and they need somebody to run it next week, a day or something, I'd like to say I'll go down and see Rick anyways.
Yeah, cool, good.
I can't tear anything up. It can't be fixed.
Just
They
keep
do
it on,
it all the time.
just keep it on the
What they
inside.
tear up, they fix. Cool, good, great.
Keep it on the inside.
All right, any other questions? We talk about the roads, big issue for us, but thanks Rex for taking this on.
Yeah.
You start driving around, you really see things different when you start looking at the roads.
I thought they were good until I started looking at all these places.
Well, they're
Wow,
still
it's
good,
really-
but yeah.
It's really something, yeah, but if you don't, your comment was, if you don't keep them caught up, then it's gonna be big dollars.
Yeah.
It's easy to see. You assume the road's always gonna be there.
All right, golf, shelter house, entertainment. I had a member approach me, they wanted to bring Mark Pennington, they were throwing out the idea of bring Mark Pennington into golf course shelter house to play. My original thought was, no, that's a concert, we can't do that. The member did find the state regs. I said we discussed it, but I said he did find the state regs where restaurants can have live entertainment. However, people need to sit socially distanced apart and spread out. And, you can't be on top of each other or dancing. So I thought I'd bring it to the committee to see if anybody had a problem with that. Our picnic tables are fairly spread out there. They would have to put signs that encourage people to spread out anywhere around. We'd have to work with the clubhouse, make sure that they could staff the drinks for that, but I don't have a problem with it as long as they stay within the guidelines.
You talk about the staff providing the drinks out to the shelter house, or are they?
No, just to be
come in?
staffed up.
Inside,
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna put waitresses.
No,
That was
but-
the question.
no, they'll have to go inside and get their own drinks.
Yeah.
I mean, if the person is there and it's our entertainer, then we do have responsibility to measure social distancing. I know the places in Columbus that are having entertainment have very significant social distancing. They're asking, people to, I mean, they literally are 6 feet apart, the tables are.
Yeah, if you come as a group, I think you can sit together.
Well, I mean, again, that's,
But if it's by donation, then is the club really
Still on our
sponsoring?
premises,
It's
we're
our
serving,
premises.
they're just paying for the entertainment, still on our premises,
Right.
we're serving drinks. I think we're-
it's on our footprint, it's our,
Gotcha.
I just think it's, if we can follow the guidelines, I don't have a problem with it, it's extra sales, but.
I don't either, it's just a matter of, I mean, you saw the one bar in Columbus that they basically have shut down.
Who's gonna police it?
That's the issue.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It just have to be, I mean, I guess whoever's working the clubhouse, if people were congregating, I guess
Is this member willing to take that responsibility?
we could ask him.
I don't think it matters if it's on our property,
It's still our
it's
responsibility.
our responsibility.
I mean, I guess if Chris is working, she sees people that are not, so we could always call security.
Yeah,
And we could just politely ask them to, hey, you need to spread out. And we would just have to put signs up and ask, remind people that.
You could do that, you could ask them to make announcements, remember to do this, and, the key thing to remember is, if this does fly and goes well and organized,
We can do
people
it
pay
again.
attention, then maybe in 2 weeks we can do something again.
But if it doesn't, we're not doing it. We're not gonna risk our liquor license. to
No,
do
it's not
that.
worth it.
And that's, I mean, because, right by my house in Upper Arlington, there's a place called Natalie's Wood Fired Pizza. It has a venue, Pop Gun plays there, a lot of the better bands in Columbus, and they're now coming back to being in place, and they are both a restaurant, bar, and an entertainment venue. But if you look at their concert activities, I think people are really far apart. Because simply for that reason, they know the health department is aware of what they're doing. And if they come in and find them in violation, and the first thing they say, they don't ask a volunteer. They'll ask us, and, what have we done? And because it is our liquor license and our food license. Again, I'm with Jim. I'm fine if people can do that. They want to spread out, sit outside the shelter house, around. If it's dark and they're far enough away and they choose to, make their own decisions, that's one thing. But at least within the confines of, lights and stuff, we've got to be, we've done so well for so far. I just would hate us to screw it up now. You get on the wrong side of the health department, it doesn't go well.
Nope, it doesn't. So we just have to put up a sign, an announcement made about social distancing, employees call security if people are not violating that. We'd have to put social distancing signs up and no dancing.
I think we'd have to set the tables too. The tables are 6 feet apart. And set the tables 6 feet apart and put the signs, don't move the table.
Yep. No, they
How
currently
big
are
of an
not.
area do we have that people can sit in lawn chairs?
There's a pretty good area out there by the,
There is.
If he's sitting on the,
they made it, they expanded that out a few years ago,
yeah,
that you could sit out quite a ways,
you can get a
spread
fair
out.
number of people, Steve. It'll be okay.
I hate to think we'd have to go out there and measure off 6 foot squares. That would be, I don't think we need to do that. We can just make the request.
Well, I think
Put it
that
on
certainly
Facebook.
certainly the tables that are right there between what's on the shelter house and then the paved area around it would be appropriate for us to have those all spaced appropriately. But then once you get beyond that, you know, I think it becomes much more, you know, you and your wife want to bring, you know, your kids and go sit out with your family on lawn chairs 20 feet away, 30 feet away, that'd be fine.
If we do that, if we do this, which I certainly don't disagree, you think people are gonna throw a fit about not having our regular concerts down here?
Well, sure they are. I mean, we all are, but we can't.
Gotcha.
We cannot.
This is, the rule, I read the rule, it's at a restaurant, you can have live music.
Okay.
You can't, you're supposed to, people are supposed to stay somewhat seated and get a drink, but the biggest thing is no dancing.
Yeah.
Which would be tough to enforce down here.
Yeah, gotcha.
If people are up dancing, and that's gonna be a huge violation.
And here there's the limitation on how many people you can have and everything else.
Yeah.
And this is based upon my conversations and with our legal advice, our counsel, was that those are the things that they're looking at. You know, the governor's office also was looking at that, making sure that large events don't occur. And, you know, that's one, that's why they're not going to be playing sports and doing everything else, because they're just not going to, because they're fully managing them. If that could change. I mean, here at the end of the month, they tend to drop new rules at the end of each month. And so if that changes and they decide to do it, our attorney did not feel that they were going to lighten up on that.
On the outdoor concerts.
Yeah. And he was on the board of Lancaster Festival. So I think it was an informed opinion. Because they were trying to salvage some of the activities of Lancaster Festival, and they were not encouraged to spend their time planning alternative things.
It's a trial run. I'll ask everybody to be on their best behaviors.
Yeah.
I think that's good, yeah.
Everybody's pent up, they want to get out. Let's do it right.
Yeah, so they can do it within the guidelines. So, anybody go against it? Okay. But this is a trial run. You can't, if it doesn't follow the guidelines, it's not gonna happen
If it
again.
gets to be a mess, then we'll just do it again. I agree. I should probably notify the board too, that there's some recommendation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get my notes typed up in time, but there's a couple of key things that we should get out to them. We can talk about
I'll
that
get that
later.
up to them tomorrow.
Last item, it's not on the thing, Eric Bosco contacted me, he'd like to do a package study to kind of help us. He's heard what I presented at the board, the discussion around the number of packages he would like to take on, working with Dan, who's done some work on it, if you're still willing to do that.
Already talked to him and given him the information.
There you go.
He asked me to volunteer to do the study, and I said no.
Okay, but he'd like somebody from the management committee to help him, or just let him bounce information up. But he's willing to just basically try to get a hold of FedEx, UPS, and Amazon, and basically come with some recommendations of things we can do. And here's what he's just basically wants to do some legwork. He wants to work with somebody on the committee to do some of the legwork of, will UPS deliver to houses?
When you are done, I just want
And so he was just asking if anybody's willing to kind of work with it. I think it's more so just answering questions and work.
I told him I would answer his logistics questions. I'd be happy to do that, but I just didn't want to do the study. The other thing I did suggest is that reach out to other members that are logistics people, like Stan, or,
Oh, you gave me some names. Yeah, he was asking me if I knew any names, and I didn't know anybody.
Yes, him.
well, we have a former person that used to sit in your chair, Jim, that was, or is, Bubba, a few people.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll give him your name, Steve, and then he's just gonna take a couple weeks and let's come with some recommendations that I think it'd be good for us to get some more information than we talked about. I told him you had gotten some information, Dan, on the lockers and.
I gave them all of that information.
So I appreciate that, so. Anything else for the public we wanted to bring up? All right.
Like I said, it was a lake patrol.